How you doing, guys? It's Jose here again, and on the table today I got the Husqvarna 395xp. Let me flip it around here. So this is Husqvarna's second largest saw that they make. This is directly under the 3120. The saw, specification-wise, is 94 cc's. It makes 7.1 horsepower and weighs 17.4 pounds, and that's without the bar and chain. That's just the power head. I just bought this saw this year, not even a year. It hasn't even been a year yet that I've owned this saw. And this saw is great. And the reason I bought it is because I have a 3120 and I'll be doing a review of that, you know, their largest saw. But the reason I bought this saw is because it's lighter. And when you have to take down big trees while you're climbing, this saw is a lot lighter and it still makes really good power, so you can still run a large bar. I have their recommended max bar length on it, so I have a 36-inch bar on it. It's 0.58 gauge, 3/8 pitch still. It's 115 drive links. It pulls this bar no problem, and it could pull a 50-inch bar. I mean, there's guys out there who have 60-inch bars on these saws stock, and if you port these saws, they can make way more power than they do stock, but I still have a warranty on it, and I don't want to void that porting it or doing anything like that, and none of my saws are ported anyway. But they are going to be doing a redesign of this saw, is what I've read on the forums, to the 595, so they're going to make improvements, and it'll probably have auto-tune. But as for right now, this saw is completely, just like all their 3 Series saws, it has a carb that you can manually adjust. You got your low and your high, and then your idle. This saw has a single post chain brake. I would liken the new one to see a dual post chain brake just because they're a little bit flimsier. That's just a personal preference thing. It's no big deal. Just like all their other saws, it has that are larger. It has a decompression valve right here. This one's on the left-hand side of the saw. Most of them are on the right or on top on an angle now. But this one, it's still on the left-hand side. It's got felling sights. It also has a quick flip for the air filter, so you can do it by hand here, or you can use your scrunch to get quick access to your air filter. This one's a little different because even though it's quick access, it has a screw on here to take it off that you can see right in here. It has a little Phillips screw, and that design to me is better. Even though it takes longer to take it off, and you can use a scrunch because it does have a slot that's cut all the way through for a flathead. But this design's better because unlike all their other saws, I think this one filters the best because it doesn't get any particles in the manifold that were not filtered out, because this one uses the filter as a rubber seal and you can get it nice and tight. Like all their other saws that are professional grade, you get the pleated felt air filter, so you don't have to worry about cleaning it out as much. And with Husqvarna's air injection that uses the flywheel of the motor to take out the large debris, this rarely gets really dirty. You can clean it out almost every time you sharpen the chain. Really large air filter, really large surface area, because this is a large displacement saw, excuse me. So it definitely runs good and everything like that, just like all their other saws that are professional grade, except for the 3120. But all the 3 Series saws had this blue style choke lever, so you just pull that out, that's full choke, click it back in, and that's half choke, and then click the throttle and you're back at your normal run position. It has, like many of their other saws, the same stop switch. It has their normal caps, they work great, not too fancy, not over-engineered, perfect design. It's got spring anti-vibration like I'm sure 90% of their other saws have. It's got 2 in the back there, 1 on the bottom here. This saw comes with decent size dogs straight from the factory. I've never changed them. I've had a few of these, but those work plenty fine for any work that you're going to do. Be taking down trees, if you're going to be running, you know, like I said, their max recommended size. Inside here, this saw does have an outboard clutch. I'll show you here in a second. And this saw does not have Husqvarna's captive bar nuts, so be conscious of that when you take them off so you don't lose them in the grass or anything like that. But that's just something to be aware of. Just like the other saws, it's got clutch band on the outside because it's an outboard clutch, and then you have your wear plate right here so you're not, hitting the side of the plate. This saw is magnesium as well. You can see here it's got a nice little chip deflector so you aren't getting them thrown all over the place. You can get a nice pile. Outboard clutch, they just like this saw that runs an outboard. This one is one of Husqvarna's saws that has a nut on the outside, so you can use an air impact gun to get it off, just like most of the steel saws have that are outboard clutches, like their climb saws. But on like the T540 and the 562, you have to use a flathead, whether it be your scrunch or any other flathead, and a mallet to drive off the clutch. This one has a rim sprocket like all their bigger saws do. For the chain, this one's a 7-tooth. You can see the adjuster right here for the bar. What I don't like about this saw, and they better change it in the redesign, is that it has a front chain tensioner, which they're god-awful. It's a pain to tighten the chain. It's better to just keep it on the side. I don't know, because they have changed these throughout the years. They should have changed that somewhere down the manufacturing line. I think they just didn't want to invest the money into it, but they definitely should have changed that at some point in time. You have your grease hole for your bearing right here. Another wear plate. Chain catch just in case you break a chain, which are more useful on these saws because that's more likely on a bigger saw like this. It does have an adjustable oiler down here. You can just adjust it with your scrunch. Because you're running bigger bars, that's definitely useful on a saw like this. Here's the exhaust for the muffler. I still have the spark arrestor in it. A lot of guys take them out. But what I don't like, another thing I don't like about this is Husqvarna should have put something right here, whether it be like a piece of aluminum tape, for a heat reflector, because like I said, I just bought this saw. It's not even a year old, and this is already melting from the hot summer days. So that's definitely something to be conscious of. If you buy one, put a piece of like heat reflective tape right here so you don't have to worry about that, to keep your saw looking nice. It's got a large foot plate for starting. Overall, it's a great saw. Like I said, the reason we bought it is because we have the 3120 and we put a 50-inch cannon bar on it. So we use that for basically stumps and felling, notching huge trees. But to climb with that now is a little ridiculous. I still have the 42-inch I used to have on the 3120, so I put that on this sometimes when I need something a little bit bigger in the tree. But this is just lighter to climb with overall, and you still get a lot of power out of it for it being, 94 cc's and the 3120 being 119. But overall, these are great saws. I mean, the magnesium case and everything, they run great, and they're just, some people buy these and they put smaller bars on them than 36-inch and 32, and I think that's almost a little ridiculous because these saws make so much power. The normal person, like normal people who cut firewood, buy these saws, and it's just a little ridiculous that they're putting that small of bars on there because they're never going to cut anything that big, and then they purchased, a $1,200 saw, which to me is just they're completely out of their mind. They should buy a 562 or a 372 at the max because those saws have so much power, and if you poured them, it's going to be more than any, firewood cutter could use. So a saw like this, I definitely think is for a professional removing trees, a logger, something along the lines of that. Definitely, this is something you need to be careful with and conscious of how much power they make. Another thing I forgot to mention, this saw has rubber grips right here, which I think are nice. I wish they put that on more of their saws, but on the older ones we had, they rubbed away. So I guess that's a reason they don't do it. But this is the only one with those that I know of in Husqvarna's line. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attach a video of me cutting a log with this saw. It's a really small log, but it's cold here in Michigan, so I don't want to go to the yard and cut stuff. So I have this in my garage and I can cut that, and then you can see how it works. And if you have any questions about one of these and you're curious about how they run or anything technical, feel free to leave a comment and I can answer that. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy. This is the aftermath of those cuts. Look at what I get to clean up. Have a good one, guys.